for their friends, for themselves. They never hold the oil marketers. Have you ever heard that Nigeria is owing subsidy money? Have you ever heard that before? They always make that available. It is their own money that they have created through the back door. And they have decided to blackmail the whole country. Your government blackmailing you by saying, if we don't pay this money, you are going to buy fuel at the rate of 1,500 naira per liter. Your government blackmailing you. The failed government that couldn't manage 6 refineries in Nigeria. They couldn't build any new one. For the past 24 years, no single refinery is working in Nigeria. But they have never missed subsidy payments, ever. Oil marketers have never protested that government has not paid them or did not pay them subsidy money because they are them. So if your government now says, we have removed it, and the avuvu sellers, propagandists, are coming to you to say it is a good idea because 4 trillion can now be used for maintaining your refineries. 4 trillion can now be used for education. 4 trillion can now be used for transportation. But you know, when it is now time for them to use the 4 trillion for transportation, 4 trillion for electricity, 4 trillion for healthcare, there will be no 4 trillion to spend on them anymore. But when there is a need for 4 trillion to be paid to these fraudsters called oil marketers, saboteurs that have ensured that refineries in Nigeria will never work, the governments who are also in bed with that. Imagine a country where your Minister of Petroleum is your president, and the saboteurs who are now oil marketers are making billions of dollars for selling your own crude oil, refined crude oil, back to your people. But your president is the Minister of Petroleum. 24 years, ladies and gentlemen. What do you think? It is unfortunate. Thank you very much, Festus or Shifeso. Same to you as well, Augustine. Augustine Eduagaye. Thank you for that. Do you understand what I am saying there, right? It is a system they have created that way. All this idea of selling false hope to the people will never change their lives, okay? And no amount of blackmail, gaslighting, and including incarceration will make false to be truth and will make the truth to be lie. No way. So it's a criminal system in a nutshell. Subsidy removed. Oh, what do we do now? People are complaining. Everything is expensive. Oh, okay. You know what? Let us just give them 80,000 naira. Okay, where are we going to see the money? Let us go and borrow the money. Okay, we need 800 billion naira so that we can use that to cushion the effect of subsidy removal. Oh, we can also give some money to some people, to some states. Let them buy buses too. Oh, that's good. So that will just reduce the price of transportation. Oh, okay, that's a good idea. Where do we get the money from? Let us go and borrow it. So in the course of them going, remember, they were borrowing money to pay their friends for subsidy. But it's gone. But they need money now to pay you who are going to suffer the removal, supposedly. Now, when they got the money, oh, hang on. No, we cannot just give them all of that money. We need 200 billion from that money. Another 100 billion. Another 35 billion for the judges. You see that 200 billion, that one is for those newly elected lawmakers. We need to also give them, because they are homeless, okay? They are mostly, they're like homeless. So we need to get them that and settled, okay? We need 200 billion. They also need cars. We need 100 billion for that. All right. And the judges too. All the judges, they need money. We need to give them $35 billion. I mean, Naira too. Okay. Then what about the people? And, maybe we should just give them rice. Okay. Give them rice and maybe 5,000 Naira. What are we going to do next month? Are we going to be go and give them this one first and tell them to be hopeful and that they should sacrifice. Okay. That one of these days, everything's going to be fine because we are going to use their subsidy money. Okay. We're going to use it to build road. We're going to use it to build this and that, blah, 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 blah. Pay people and tell them all of that. That's it. And then everywhere, if they are not breaking somebody's head because of rice palliative, then they beat somebody's mama, somebody's papa somewhere else, or other people are just like they are just dragging the expired food that they brought to their own local government or what have you. Others who are just staring at those rice, they're like, how do you want us to share this now? Which means they never planned anything. So the uproar over 80,000 Naira, that suddenly just put them aback and they said, no, don't give them money again. Today, after 3 months, and then the subsidy they told you they removed, then they went behind the scene to go and take $3 billion. $3 billion. And they gave it to their friends. Now, their friends, would you have to go to the central bank or go to the Bureau de Change to get dollars to go and import petrol to Nigeria? They got the 3 billion. They have finished the 3 billion now. Now, dollars to Naira. They are now doing a relay race. All the jargons, all the nonsense about Naira Kinekon, market forces, all the nonsense they told you. They've all proven that you are in Shege Pro Max, renewed Shege. It is not renewed hope. Because what they are renewing is the continuation of the fraud and the ruinous regime of APC, Egbekegbe, led by Mumumadu Bokwari. That is exactly the same playbook, the same pattern, the same lies, the same propaganda. So if I sit down here and tell you, you are headed for the same place, would you not agree with me? In one of those ridiculous financial rascality, all right, or financial irresponsibility of Bokwari was when they returned Abacha loot. Listen to this one. They said Swiss bank returned Abacha loot. Guess how much Abacha loot was returned that period I'm about to tell you. $450 million. Abacha loot returned to Nigeria. That same week, Pastor Ruga, Ekene Shatabandu, you know him, I'm talking about Agbowoni Baba Oja, Oshinbade, Pastor Ruga, special advisor to Bokwari on burial arrangements, condolences matters, and trader money. Pastor Ruga quickly chartered helicopters and he started sharing 10,000 Naira to those they called market women. And they called it trader money, Abacha loot. They shared it according to them. 2 weeks after they received Abacha loot that they shared, Nigeria was applying for 250 million Naira loan from World Bank in order to battle malaria. I didn't make that up. You can read about it. 2 weeks after they shared 450 million, according to them. to poor people in Nigeria or to traders in Nigeria. They applied for $250 million loan from World Bank in order to fight malaria in Niger Delta region. They were so specific. Malaria in Niger Delta region. So they got the money, they got the loan. Okay? As well as the interest that comes with the loan. It is part of Nigeria overall debt today that is over $150 billion. So Nigeria currency, Naira, has taken so much hit from these lunatics who believes that what is wrong in printing money? Inflation, inflation is just number. And then they can come around and say, to battle poverty, unemployment is to first of all, falsify the statistics of those who have jobs and those who don't. Then their policy of combating and bringing people out of poverty is to map them down and say, give 10,000 naira to 12 million households. And by so doing, multiply 12 million by 5, you get 60 million. So in their book, once they give 10,000 naira to 12 million household of five people, that is 60 million. They have lifted 60 million out of poverty. In their book, in their policy, renewed hope, renewed shege. So in a space of 3 months, in their effort to try and cover, and in order to score something they can at least call an achievement, in 3 months, to cover up the financial recklessness of Bokwari, which they haven't even issued an arrest warrant on right now, which is also a pointer to tell you that these criminals are going to be worse than Bokwari, and they are just going to use Bokwari's templates to further ruin and divide and break up Nigeria. I'm up for that. It's just that it is so expensive. A lot of people are going to die, and they are not going to be killed because of the violence they're killing alone. They're going to die because of this economic jihad of these rogues and criminals. It is the same template. Where is the hope coming from? $7 billion in a space of 3 months, trying to cover the financial recklessness of the immediate past criminals. Where somebody spent over $60 billion, 60 billion naira to launch a logo, ordinary graphic design of an helicopter, of a plane, of a logo. And he got away with that. And he also managed to boldly say he spent 14 billion naira procuring firefighting trucks. And at the same time, we can see all these rogues who are living in their different palaces in Nigeria, outside Nigeria, and yet this is the money that has now become the debt over Nigerians today. Just so you know, when they come around and tell you that they are going to, even if they decide to give you 100,000 naira every month because of this economic situation that they created, ladies and gentlemen, with the debt of Nigeria and the population of Nigeria per head, husband and wife, every Nigerian right now is currently owing, from those who have broken it down, plus or minus 407,000 naira. So if you are married, your husband, your wife, the husband and wife, 407,000, 814,000 naira. Two of you are owing. When they share the debt of Nigeria on all of you, each of you is owing 407,000 naira. And this is just coming from what Sifnumbu has borrowed in 3 months and what Bokwari did in 8 years. Think about your life. Think about your life. Think about your future in such economy, in such country. Think about your children and still think if this is all about your religion or your tribe or your party or whatever class you put yourself, even the rich people. Supposedly those who claim to be rich, they are also under fire right now. A lot of them are currently weighing the options. Must sell every of my assets here and just leave this country. Not for me, but for my children. What is it going to be like in 5 years? What is it going to be like in 10 years? You are losing money even without doing any betting. You are not gambling, but you are shrinking. A lot of you, I mean, I can go on and on and on and on and on and on like that. 407,000 naira each. And I'm just being kind of generous. This is just like you, boyfriend and girlfriend, though. If you have your own children, they have already calculated them. Let's say you have 3 kids. They are still kids, yo. But with the projection of Nigeria population and the depth of Nigeria, if they decide to start holding everybody, your children are also owing 407,000 naira. So talk to me. If currently the money they borrowed in the name of Nigeria has put every living Nigerian in debt, including myself, who is here. I know every time I say that to some of us here, they'll say, Mayegu, stop it. I know they owe any shishi. I don't owe anybody any shishi. No count me. I know. Me too, I don't owe anybody. But I'm just saying, literally. If they break it down and they use this population, just like now all of us, they share in the mystery of Nigeria. Now every tribe, every religion, every region, everybody is sharing in this poverty, sharing in this insecurity, sharing in this underdevelopment and bad leadership. Everyone is sharing from it. So the basic, now everybody they share from But I understand the argument of my brothers from the eastern part of Nigeria. It will shock you. Would it shock you or not? That there is no single completed Nigeria project in the entire eastern part of Nigeria. I swear. These are some of the things that they'll say when you are reading about some hidden facts. Are you following me? If you are reading about some hidden facts, and this fact is just going to be like, no way, no way, no way. That's not possible. It will tell you about Nigeria. The fraudulent one, Nigeria, is not one. You know, when I just mentioned the depth now, when they say, what is the population of Nigeria? A lot of you who did current affairs, I always kind of follow this. You know a lot. How many states, how many local government, how many tribes, how many languages, how many regions, and all of that stuff. You are so current, Abi. So when I said that if you divide Nigeria debt includes the money the government of Nigeria borrowed for projects, as they always claim, to develop Nigeria, every part of Nigeria. But do you know, or would you believe it? Like I am telling you right now, that there is no single federal government project, federal government completed project in the eastern part of Nigeria. Let me give you an example of a federal government project, okay, so that you understand what I'm saying. You see that train from Abuja to Kaduna, that is funded by the taxpayers' money, the taxes from every part of Nigeria. Sure you get. So when they borrow money to build that train, that rail line, you see that road from Abuja to Kaduna or Sokoto to, what do you call it, to Niger, or Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, or Lagos to Ibadan Railway, or the Lagos Nigeria Seaport. Those are projects that were funded by taxpayers all over Nigeria. Because you know what they do in Nigeria? They take money, they take taxes from everywhere. They put it in a jar. Inside that jar, they will now start sharing the money according to size of your own region or your state. So the southern Nigeria contributes over 80% of Nigeria's revenue, Nigeria's taxes. Every penny that the government of Nigeria make, 80% of that come from the southern Nigeria. But when it comes to the sharing of that resources, that revenue, because of size, the northern Nigeria is bigger. The northern Nigeria is like ×2 of the southern Nigeria. So by design, and those who have designed the sharing, they have to share according to your size. So southern Nigeria contributes 80%. Northern Nigeria contributes less than 20%. That's being generous, by the way. But when it comes to sharing, the northern Nigeria will take 68% of the total money. And southern Nigeria will take 32% of the total money. This is the sharing formula. And this is the meaning of one Nigeria. If you stop that, you have broken up Nigeria. Once there is no one sharing, there is no one Nigeria anymore. Do you understand? So this sharing formula, which has left southern Nigeria sort of, poorer, has never actually made the northern Nigeria richer. It has always been about these rogues and the beneficiaries. But just before I kind of go deeper in that again, let me take a step back and explain to you what this new one simply means. Just add it to the rest. Okay? So, if you believe that Nigeria is in debt of this size, and every Nigerian holds this, then if the people of the eastern Nigeria says, we know the whole kobo, shishi, there is no completed trail line or train track in eastern Nigeria. There is no functional seaport in eastern Nigeria. There is no completed road or federal roads in eastern Nigeria. They have a popular one that they have been constructing for the past 20 years. It is called the East-West Road. That name is self-explanatory, Abi. East, eastern Nigeria. West, western Nigeria. The super highway that could have been like that of Lagos-Ibadan Expressway has been under construction for the past 20 years in eastern Nigeria. So when the people of eastern Nigeria says, we have been contributing, they have been taking taxes from us, we have been paying our dues like everyone else, if not more. We have become the target of the state, which has targeted our businesses. They've targeted our own economic well-being. But nevertheless, we have never been found wanting. With all of this that we are paying to Nigeria, what did we get back? 24 hours electricity, functional rail line or railways, super functional federal motorways, no, federal medical centers or standard schools built by the federal government of Nigeria. I mean, like, everybody is suffering from this, I'm just saying. Like, some of us can still boast of few things they've managed to put in place. In eastern Nigeria, there is no one single completed major federal government of Nigeria's project in eastern Nigeria. No single one. 24 years of democracy. I'm not asking you, please don't ask me who is to blame for that. Okay? So who is to blame for the no electricity in Yoruba land? Who is to blame for the insecurity and all of that, The criminals who are always united. Now you, the shout one Nigeria and you see the shout say you be Igbo. Now you they identify as Yoruba and you see the shout as one Nigeria, deceiving yourself. Now you they identify as Hausa or Fulani and shouting one Nigeria, deceiving yourself. Okay? And immediately, this issue of your tribe, your ethnic, your religion, and all of that comes to, you are ready to kill yourselves. You see the criminals who are benefiting from your division, they are from the east, they are from the west, they are from the north, they are from everywhere. They are from your religion. They are from everybody's part of Nigeria. They are united all over you. And they are watching you slaughter yourselves. If you do, by the way, 1 second though. So if the Easterners says, no, we know they hold them anything, no, fine. But let's go back to the trajectory that these guys are taking that is not different from that of Bokwari. So if you are still kind of open on nonsense, then it is not their fault, not your fault. Do you understand? Like some of you who love to live in denial. Some of you who love to kind of poke people and tell them to have a little bit of hope. You cannot hope on fraudsters, liars, especially when you see the pattern. What should have worked on you should have been, like majority of you in Nigeria should be having PTSD. The PTSD you have suffered under Bokwari, the PTSD of you hoping and thinking that maybe people were wrong about Bokwari, and you are hoping that Bokwari will do something different. He will do it different. Maybe something will change until you finally concluded that you have made a mistake of your life for believing that Bokwari meant well. Now, if somebody is now playing the same card with Tifnumbu, shouldn't that give you a PTSD? If somebody is coming back with the same line, accusing you of not being patriotic, accusing you of not liking Nigeria, for not following the same trajectory of lies, shouldn't you be so triggered? Hey, don't tell me that. That was how you told us during Bokwari's time. I was one of those who believe in Bokwari. I was this and that. So don't bring me that nonsense. Don't tell me that I'm overreacting. Don't tell me that I don't like Nigeria. You said the same thing during Bokwari's time. What was the end of that? What happened after that? All of you will claim to love Nigeria. See Nigeria now. Please. Biko. That is the PTSD you should have. You shouldn't be one of those that will then say, Tifnumbu, what he did in Lagos, show monkey. You should have PTSD. You should be triggered. When these criminals begin to blackmail you or gaslight you, you can see the trajectory. You can see the moves. So don't be deceived enough to say, I'm just thinking that because, no. You are not learning. And that's not fine. Because you are going to end up like those who waited on Bokwari, if you are lucky enough to live long enough to escape what is coming. So many people who were hoping on Bokwari, they didn't live to regret it. They are dead. If you are lucky to survive it, you're going to have the same, if not worse. So there's no point in, in you holding on to something that is not real. There's no point in telling yourself that all of the signs, all of these things that you are seeing, they are, they can be remedied at some point. They can't. It's the same actors, same playbook. The one that led Nigeria to to this indebtedness, bankruptcy, poverty, high crime, terrorism. Just take a look and, don't ignore the obvious. Now, maybe when you begin to see the real threat there, what people are saying about resisting and standing up and bringing it to an end, if you don't stop them, they will never stop. So when the citizens are so aware, so self-aware, that they begin to build that courage of resist, common goal, despite all your differences, all our differences, the moment you begin to link up and click it together and see that these guys don't mean well. They can buy time forever, but do you have that time? So that's what they have just done now. They have been given another $700 million. And that's the whole, that's kind of the beauty of it. A lot of money. Oh my God. 700 billion to fund girl education. 700 billion naira, because if you exchange it to 1,000 naira to $1 now, 700 billion, and it is going into the private pocket of these rogues, and you are still going to not see, you will never see the impact of that 700 billion naira loan for girl education. Just the same way they claimed to be spending 500 billion naira on sharing it to the poorest of the poorest in Nigeria. Same thing they told you, that it's costing them over 45 billion naira every week. 180 billion naira every month to feed the school children in Nigeria. I know some of you have forgotten that they claimed that they were spending over 180 billion naira for school feeding program. These criminals. Here is another 700 for them. And this is the one that is currently public. There are others that are probably in the pipeline. And they are currently telling themselves that they could put together a package for Tifnumbu, and Tifnumbu will go on a global tour soon. So everywhere he goes, he's going to be begging for debt forgiveness for Nigeria and some African countries. Chinese know they forgive loan. So when Bukwari was taking the China loan, and for so many of you who probably have been following that, it got to a point whereby some of the defaulting countries in Africa who took loans from China, they had to forfeit their national asset built with those loans. Okay? So at a point, we believe that rather than for China to forgive Nigeria debts, they will take over all of those infrastructures and every other things that Nigeria used as collateral. Shebokuwari that used Nigeria foreign reserve as collateral to collect money, the money that we don't know what they did with it, except for the fact that the money is traced to Dangote refinery at the time. So how many of Nigeria national assets that China would have to come and take? But you see Tifnumbu and his gang, they are now putting together an international tour where Tifnumbu will be begging all of these creditors, asking them to forgive some of Nigeria debt so that he can say, instead of arresting those who stole Nigeria money, who are now enjoying their resources, put them in jail and take back those resources. Instead of doing that, they are going to put more and more forex together, more millions of dollars together, and send Tifnumbu on a Bambi Allah tour. Go abroad with your bowl. Beg them to forgive the debts. Don't worry. Until then, we can start taking some small loans here and there, backdoor loans, and they are still piling the whole thing up. And Nigeria Naira can continue to take the dive, falling from the cliff. And when Nigeria Naira falls from the cliff, to those of you who don't understand, although you are not spending dollars in Nigeria, these criminals have ensured that their policies have killed businesses. Small and big businesses are folding up. I am talking about over 18,000 businesses folded up under Bokwari alone. That is a factual statistic, by the way. And that means the figure of over 80 million Nigerians becoming jobless in 8 years of Bokwari makes sense. If you lost over 18,000 businesses in 8 years, you have lost the chunk of what should have been your source of revenue. Government have no business in business, you know. The only thing government does is to take and take. For government to take more and make more, all they have to do is to make the environment, is to make the whole system conducive for businesses. When businesses are making money and they are expanding, they will be employing. The more people they employ, the more outlets they open, the more taxes government makes. So the richer the society, the business communities, the richer the government. In 8 years, Bokwari's government killed businesses, killed jobs, and then went borrowing. And in that 8 years, Nigerians have been going through sorrowing, sorrowing after the other. So the same step is what Tifnumbu is taking. Okay, let's borrow more. Okay, and see if they will forgive us our debt. Let's tell them Nigeria is about to go bankrupt. The rest of West Africa is going to suffer it. We can no longer fund our power generating system anymore. They can't fund your electricity generating plant in Nigeria anymore. Nigerians they would have to get used to national grid collapsing every now and then. They cannot invest. There is no way for them getting new investment in your power sector due to the corruption and so much fortune that has been sunk into it. The investors who have been regular there, they know all of this and they know the corruption surrounding it. This same pattern that led to this is still what is still playing out. So if you have no new investor, I'm talking about real investor in your power sector because of the corruption therein, under Bokwari of 8 years, Nigeria national grid collapsed 122 times. At a point, it was a major news. And it got to a point, from the start, it was a major news. Oh my God, national grid collapse. But it got, people in Nigeria got used to it. That when they no longer put it as headline, they will just put it at the corner of the front pages or at the page of obituary. They will say Nigeria national grid collapse yesterday. So it became a regular thing. What is even collapsing? A country of 200 million people, generating less than 10,000 megawatts of electricity, distributing less than 2,000 of the same electricity, 24 years of democracy, tens of billions of dollars investment. It has created nothing, no light, but darkness, ladies and gentlemen. So you have the sector that is riddled with enough corruption. So where is the light coming from? Unfortunately, the borrowing and the sorrowing and all of that, as listed, the playbook is still there. It is still playing out. So you can easily tell what the end goal is going to be. Take the money, share the money, give them the hope, make them believe that we are doing something. Let them see it as if, yeah, something is going on, when nothing is going on. Abracadabra. The hands of the magician. The first hand is to distract you. The second hand is to prepare what is called the magic. Abracadabra. That's exactly what they are practicing. Anyway, I'll take it a bit further. Yeah, the news. Like, not taking responsibility per se, as they will never do. Okay? So, Nigeria is a place where, like I said earlier, it is how they want Nigeria to be, that Nigeria is. Now you they worry yourself, that Nigeria is not working. According to them, Nigeria is working perfectly. They share Nigeria as just like the spoil of war. they share Nigerians as well as extra of the spoil of the war. So they share the oil blocks, okay? They share the land. They share the positions. They share this. They share that. And Nigerians have no share at all. So, Wike made the news. And this was when they said they are revoking the lands given to, according to them, some prominent Nigerians. But that won't really sell. If they didn't say they revoked the land of Peter Obi. But these are the names of the prominent ones of those they revoked their what have you. But because of what that generates, kind of, I decided to pick up a clip where, say now, one of the problems, one of the crime of Peter Obi is the fact that he always presents himself as a corrupt, a corrupt-free, selfless individual who had an opportunity, like everyone else. And when you say opportunity to let your own selfishness and greed take the most part of you, he had that chance, but he never used it. That seems to be so far-fetched to so many people. And to make it worse, Obi will be bragging and be saying, go and verify. So at a point, I came to a conclusion that apart from the fact that a lot of his critics, they have shown that they hated or they don't like him because of where he come from as an Igbo man. He dared the undareables. He desired what should be forbidden fruits. He wanted to be president of Nigeria, an Igbo man. That is an abomination. Apart from that, I think the way he brags that he stole no penny. If you see any property, if you see any land, if you see any of these, for example, we will tell you, if you see any house that is different from the house I have in my own village, in my state, and the house I have in Onitsha, where did he say he has a house? He said if you see any land or any house in Abuja, in any part of Nigeria, not even outside Anambra, and they say this land is Peter Obi land. This house, now Peter Obi get the house when he was governor. This land, they gave the land to him when it was this or that. He said you should take it. So I came to the conclusion that a lot of those who were taking a dig at him, they actually hated him for not being corrupt. I came to that conclusion. Okay? I know others who will say, no, Mayegun Dakpada, stop that. Define corruption. I'm saying, okay. I'm saying the known and popular corruption in Nigeria. The one that automatically turned the state bank account to your family bank account the moment you become the governor. The one that says everything you get, land, property, like you have Tifnubu in Lagos. Tifnumbu decided to own almost the entire Lagos and the entire Lagosians, all because he was governor. That's the only reason. The government properties that they use government money to buy, renovate, and they call that government governor's guest house. When Tifnumbu was going, he awarded them to himself, changed the ownership, the landed properties and all of that. The ones he's going to give to his wife, to those who are commissioners, to those who are this or that. I mean, like regular, those who are judges, because he could do that. The ones he will give to his friends, he will give to other people. You know what I mean? Like, because he could do that. In Nigeria, you could do that, even though ethically and morally. Why would you do that? Because you are a governor. Abi? So that's the corruption I'm talking about. He happened to be a billionaire who has a business that you can also, in a way, say his business flourished because of his own seat at the table of the elite of Nigeria. But we are not talking about the public service. He said public service. He was a governor. He had a chance of making billions and stealing them like everyone else, so that when you talk about the criminals who were stealing money, you will easily mention his name and talk about how many properties his wife has abroad. I mean, how many property he himself currently controls elsewhere. So he sort of make people so angry when he tells them to go and verify. So I decided then, I kind of concluded then that a lot of them hated him because he's not corrupt, but they just don't want to say it. So it's easier then, to come around and say, come and hear, oh, Peter Obi the way talk, say no get house, no get land for Abuja. Liar. Where the Wike has just revoked his house. His land in Abuja. That's going to be the headline. It's easier. Breaking news. Wike revokes CFO from Peter Obi. Where Wike revokes lands from Peter Obi and others. You don't need to know the others. So Peter Obi said they chop from the sherry. But that's when I said it's actually like intentional. But the guy did say something about this land somewhere, just for the record.
The present governor of Bauchi State, gave me a land in Abuja. He said you can ask him. He asked me 3 months ago that I'm the only person who have given land who haven't built it. I said, I told you, I do not need the land in Abuja. I don't want house all over the place. I'm not against those who do it. As long as it doesn't conflict my interest, they can.
So I remember him saying that. So I was like, he did say he didn't. He did actually say they gave him a land in Abuja. He mentioned the person who gave him the land, who is now the governor of Bauchi State.